She said no one else would love you. So I disappeared and let her watch me thrive. I, 28M, used to think love meant tolerating pain. That loyalty meant staying even when it hurt. That if you just loved hard enough, the other person would finally see you, choose you, and stop hurting you. Her name was Leah, 26F. We met during the second year of college. She was beautiful, the kind of girl everyone noticed the second she walked in. Confident, sarcastic, eyes like she knew something about you didn't even know yourself. I was more the quiet type. Introverted. I had a few friends, but I mostly kept to myself. Leah picked me. Out of all the guys who would have killed for her attention, she walked straight to me one day after class and said, "You don't talk much, huh?" I like that. I didn't know what to say. I'd barely had a real conversation with a girl before, let alone someone like her. For a while, it felt like a dream. She made me feel seen, important, wanted, but it didn't take long for things to shift. At first, it was little things. Comments she'd make about the way I dressed. My hair. How I talked too softly. "God, you're so awkward," she'd laugh. "It's cute, though." In a sad puppy kind of way. I laughed too. I always laughed. I thought that's what people in love did. Tease each other, push buttons. I figured I just had to grow thicker skin. The real cracks started showing about a year in. She began comparing me to her exes, usually when we fought. They were men. "You're just safe. Predictable." Or sometimes she'd say things like, "I don't even know what I'm doing with you. I should have left then. I really should have." But when she saw the pain in my eyes, she'd cry, apologize, beg. And every time, I'd forgive her, believing it was just a rough patch. Over time, I stopped bringing up how I felt. Anytime I did, she'd twist it into something else. "You're too sensitive. You're always overthinking. God, no one else would put up with your neediness." And then came the sentence. The one that stuck in my chest like a knife. "No one else would love you like I do. Hell, no one else would even want you." She said it during a fight about something stupid. I think I had made dinner plans and forgot she had yoga. I remember standing there, holding a plate of pasta I had cooked for us, staring at her as she said it. She didn't even flinch. Just stared at me with this cold look, like she had calculated how much it would hurt. I nodded. Said nothing. That night, something in me cracked. But not in the way she wanted. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't defend myself. I just stopped trying to prove myself to her. I realized I had spent years believing I was hard to love because she told me so. Because she kept me under her thumb with emotional manipulation disguised as affection. I wasn't perfect, but I was kind, loyal, patient. I deserved more than walking on eggshells just to keep someone from exploding. I didn't leave right away. I started with small things. I stopped apologizing for things that weren't my fault. I started saying no. I began reconnecting with friends I had pushed away. I went to therapy in secret. I stopped sharing my every thought with her because all she did was weaponize them. And she noticed. "You're pulling away," she said one night. "Don't think you'll find anyone better." I looked at her and smiled for the first time in a long time. "I'm not looking," I said. "I'm finding me." After that night, I could feel the shift. It was like someone had finally cracked open a window in a suffocating room. The air felt different, clearer. I started sleeping better, breathing easier. And Leah? She didn't like that. She started ramping up the mind games. Some days, she'd be sweet. She'd cook dinner, playfully tease me like she used to in the beginning. Other days, she'd pick fights over the smallest things. "You don't love me anymore," she'd say, arms crossed, eyes burning. "You've changed." She was right. I had changed. I wasn't reacting the way I used to. I wasn't begging for her affection or forgiveness anymore. I was just silent, focused, watching it all from a distance like I wasn't even part of the drama anymore. What she didn't know was that I had started documenting everything. I'd quietly been taking note of her emotional abuse, her patterns, her outbursts, her manipulation. I didn't know what I'd do with it at first. Maybe nothing. But somehow, writing it down gave me clarity. It reminded me that what I was going through wasn't love. It was control. One evening, we went to dinner with some of her friends. She made a joke at my expense, something about how he probably rehearses what he says in the mirror because he's socially awkward. Everyone laughed. I forced a smile. But one of her friends, Anna, gave me this look, like she saw what was happening. After dinner, she messaged me on Instagram. "Hey, I hope this isn't out of line, but you don't deserve how she treats you. Just saying." That message hit me hard. I'd always assumed people didn't notice. That they thought we were the quirky opposites couple. But people did see. I just didn't know it. In the meantime, I started rebuilding myself piece by piece. I got back into coding, something I had once loved but had abandoned during our relationship because Leah called it boring and nerdy. I started hitting the gym again, eating better, journaling. I got promoted at work, too, something I had been too distracted and drained to pursue earlier. Leah noticed all of it, and it scared her. "You're hiding something," she said one night. You're planning to leave me, aren't you? I didn't answer. I just looked at her. Calm. Silent. That silence enraged her more than anything. She wanted the old me. The one who'd beg her not to leave, who'd cry and apologize for things he didn't do. Instead, she got this new version of me. The one who had realized his worth. Then came the final blow. One afternoon, while she was at work, I packed a few essentials, grabbed my laptop and documents, and walked out. I had already signed a short-term lease on a small studio apartment across town. Cheap. Quiet. Mine. I didn't leave a note. I didn't text her. I just vanished from her world. The fallout was nuclear. She called me 27 times the first night. Left voicemails crying, then screaming. She messaged my friends, demanding to know where I was. Claimed I abandoned her. Said she was worried about me. But I said nothing. I had learned that you don't owe closure to people who gave you trauma instead of love. Silence was my closure. It was my power. And I wasn't done proving her wrong. The first week after leaving felt like I was detoxing from a drug I didn't realize I was addicted to. Silence is a strange thing after years of chaos. At first, it felt wrong. Too quiet. My phone, once constantly buzzing with Leah's texts, demands, accusations, passive-aggressive comments, was now still. Every notification made my heart jump. I'd conditioned myself to brace for impact. But slowly, that anxiety turned into peace. I blocked her on everything. Changed my number. Told the few friends we shared not to pass along messages. Most respected it. Some were surprised, even supportive. A couple had seen the signs for a while, but hadn't known how to approach me. Therapy helped. A lot more than I expected. My therapist called it emotional unhooking. I started understanding that what I went through wasn't just a bad relationship. It was emotional abuse. I wasn't dramatic. I wasn't weak. I was conditioned. And now I was healing. Then something unexpected happened. A few months after I left, I ran into Anna, the friend who had messaged me that night after dinner. It was at a bookstore downtown. I was picking up a copy of The Body Keeps the Score, ironically, and she walked up behind me. Oh wow, she said. You look different. I smiled. In a good way? In a healthy way. We talked for a bit. Got coffee. Nothing romantic. Just two people connecting over shared experiences. She told me Leah had been telling people I had a breakdown and abandoned her without warning. But nobody really bought it. Too many cracks in the mask, she said. People notice more than you think. That meant more to me than I can explain. Over the next few weeks, Anna and I kept in touch. One day, she invited me to a small gathering. Just a few friends, drinks, and board games. I almost said no, but I remembered what my therapist told me. Safe doesn't mean hiding. It means choosing who gets close. So I went. That night, I laughed more than I had in years. Real, chest-deep laughter. I didn't feel like I was being watched or judged. I didn't have to explain myself every 5 minutes. I was just me. And yeah, things with Anna slowly became more. It wasn't fireworks and chaos. It was peace. Respect. She never once made me feel small. She encouraged my interests, celebrated my wins, and listened when I talked, really listened. One night, about a year after I had left Leah, I was out walking with Anna, and we passed a group of people at a bar patio. And there she was. Leah. She noticed me instantly. Froze. Her expression flickered. Shock. Then recognition. Then something else. Disbelief. I was standing taller. Smiling. Holding someone's hand. Not her hand. And that broke her in a way words never could. She didn't say anything. Neither did I. I just nodded politely and walked past. That was the moment. The moment I realized I had won. Not out of revenge. Not out of spite. But because I had rebuilt the version of myself she tried to erase. She said, no one else would love you. But someone did. Me. And now, so does someone else. Silence was never weakness. It was power. And I used it to write the ending she never expected. I appreciate you watching till the end. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more content.